Well, we're back again with yet another No Fluff analysis, and this time I'll be going over the Paragons of Piety Summon Showcase, which will be running from the 12th of March until the 27th of March UTC. Let's get straight to it with the first unit added with this showcase, the 5-star Windblade Tobias, the Faithful Knight. His first skill is Eternal Grace, which buffs the strength of wind adventurers in the team by 30% for 15 seconds. His second skill is Sacred Blade. This activates Sacred Blade for 10 seconds and changes Tobias' second skill to Revelation's Purge. While Sacred Blade is active, the skill gauge for Eternal Grace will slowly fill, and Tobias' standard attack patterns will change. Tobias will be unable to move, use Force Strikes, or dodge while this is active. Sacred Blade will end after the set period of time or after using Revelation's Purge. The skill gauge for Sacred Blade will slowly fill over time. Revelation's Purge is, well, the replacement skill once you activate Sacred Blade, which deals 8 hits of damage to nearby targets inflicting poison. The skill will target enemies based on their proximity to Tobias, so think Gala Cleo's skill 1. Tobias doesn't have the standard blade co-ability, but he rather instead has the buff time co-ability, which has a maximum of plus 20%. In terms of his other abilities, he also has another plus 25% buff time, Bog Resist, and Poisoned Punisher. So this buff time will also affect his skill 1, so if you manage to cap out your buff time through Wormprints and then co-ability and his other ability, I think the 10-second Sacred Blade buff will actually go to, I believe, 17 seconds? Anyway, Tobias will most likely not be replacing Noel in High Mercury. High Mercury benefits from having a ranged unit taking the bait role, so Tobias is more likely to maybe replace a Wedding Alazan in the typical 2 Alazan Victor Noel compositions. Could also work alongside Victor, Kirsty, and Joachim in a poison-centric composition. Overall, the buff on his first skill is a powerful asset, and his non-standard co-ability enables him to work alongside Victor without losing out on the strength co-ability. As for the dragon added with the showcase, we have the 5-star Wind Dragon Ariel, the Lion of the Goddess. Ariel grants wind units plus 50% strength and plus 30% skill haste. Her skill is Cyclone Kick, dealing damage to a target and nearby enemies, inflicting stun. So Ariel is pretty crazy. She's essentially an offense-oriented Freya. Appropriate use of her stun should also make High Mercury run slightly easier. Compared to Zephyr, Ariel trades 10% strength for 30% skill haste. This should translate to a gain in DPS, assuming you use skills as soon as they're available. However, for skills inflicting status ailments and bleed, you risk increasing the enemy's resistance to that status ailment faster, or even over-capping on bleed and having to hold onto your skills. Also consider the reduced survivability compared to Freya. Noel will probably still prefer Freya, and bleeders will probably prefer Vayu due to the fact that the bleed damage will scale off the skill damage. While not part of the reveal video, we also have the 4-star Wind Sword Templar Hope, the Budding Templar. His first skill is Night Spirit, increasing the team's defense by 25% for 15 seconds. His second skill is Blessed Sword, dealing damage to surrounding enemies. He has a standard sword co-ability of plus Dragon Haste. Now for his abilities, he has Freeze Resist, Bog Resist, and Healing Double Buff for his team. So Templar Hope is actually pretty unique with his dual resistances, but they also take up 2 slots, ignoring Story Alazan, who doesn't get 4 resistances anyway. Templar Hope, along with the Odd Sparrow's Wormprint, could act as a stand-in for Wedding Alazan in High Mercury. This substitution could also allow Noel to more easily receive healing throughout the High Mercury fight. Anyway, while not strictly part of the showcase, we also have some Wormprints added with this update. We have the first 5-star Wormprint, the Ilian Faithful, granting wind units Affliction Guard and then 25% skill prep. This could be used to bring in some off-resistance units into High Mercury, though the freeze resist pool is quite small. The skill prep is just, a nice little bonus. The second 5-star print we see is Brothers in Arms, granting Strength double buff and Broken Punisher. I'm not entirely certain if this is better to use over something like Valiant Crown, since the break state isn't typically a large portion of any fight. So overall, I'd say this is a so-so print. For the third 5-star print we see, it's Dazzling Duet, with Striking Haste and Skill Haste. I'm thinking Carl might be able to use this since swords can force strike quite often, but otherwise this is a bit of an odd print. At the very least, I think you'd use this with, a buffing unit spamming 4 strikes. And then the fourth print, a 4-star print, A Small Courage, granting plus 13% strength at full hit points and strength double buff. I actually think this is a pretty decent budget print for use with double buff teams. Maybe it could potentially combo well with Odd Sparrows. You'd overcap the strength buff by 1%, but that's not too much, thankfully. Although, thinking about it, Patia also uses Odd Sparrows, but she pairs that with Valiant Crown for the plus skill damage. It's hard to say, really. You might... maybe you'd swap it out with Odd Sparrows if you don't need healing? Who knows? Anyway, in terms of old content that's right up on this showcase, we have Eleonora and Rock. And that's about it. There's not too much to be said about this showcase, other than I think it's bait. We're very likely going to be seeing the 18-month, so like 1.5 year half anniversary celebration at the end of the month, coupled with, a potential Gala showcase. Yeah, I'm definitely holding onto my resources. Gonna be using the daily deals as always, but I don't know, in the end, it's your resources, I'm not your boss, so I'm not gonna tell you what to do. Well, at the very least, take it easy. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish you luck in your upcoming polls.